This video is all about characterization and what makes a character. Characterization is defined as details that make up who a character is. This could be part of their personality, physical traits, anything about that character that makes up who that character is. There are 5 parts of characterization that we'll look at. The first is appearance, which is how the character looks. This could be facial features the character has, expressions the character makes, body language, clothing, or body type. So anything that you physically see with the character has to do with their appearance. Here's an example for appearance. Misty is petite and her short ash blonde hair is swept back in a ponytail. She has a young face and her 2 dimples show on the side of her face when she smiles. She has on a gray hoodie with shorts and sneakers. So what do we know about Misty based on her appearance? She's young. She has a small build since she's petite. She seems laid back because she's wearing a hoodie. She seems active because she's wearing shorts and sneakers. And she seems friendly because she's smiling from her facial expression. So based on her appearance, we can make these inferences about Misty and her character. The next aspect of characterization is actions, which are things the character does. Here's an action example. Misty likes to work with the elderly. She organizes social events for senior citizens. So based on Misty's actions, what do we know about her? She seems caring because she's helping out at an elderly home. She seems generous because she's giving up her own time, and she seems helpful. So we get these inferences from the details, the actions that Misty has. The third aspect is speech, what a character says and how they say it. So it's not just what the character is saying, but sometimes characters may have different dialects or matters of speech, and that adds to their characterization as well. Let's look at a speech example. "How are you today?" asked Misty in her friendly and inquisitive tone. "How are your students this year?" So based on Misty's speech, what can we infer? Well, we can infer that Misty is curious because she's asking questions. She seems social, like she wants to talk with people, and she seems warm and kind. Her questions seem to genuinely want to know how the person is doing. The fourth aspect of characterization are thoughts and feelings. What is the character thinking or feeling about this situation? And we can base that on inner monologue that we get from the character. Here's an example for thoughts and feelings. "I really enjoy helping older adults because I was really close with my grandparents. I would want someone to show them courtesy and respect." So if this is what Misty is thinking and feeling, what does that say about her character? It says that she is respectful, that she especially respects her elders. She seems polite. She wants to make sure that she's being polite to other people, and that family is important. She cares about her grandparents and her family. The last aspect of characterization is other characters' reactions. So sometimes we get to know a character from how other characters react to that first character. So what do other characters say about this character? What do others think about this character? And how do others act around this character? All those things can give us details about a character's characterization by how others are reacting around them. Here's an example for other characters' reactions. "You are so helpful, dear," said the elderly woman as Misty helped her out of her chair. So here we have another character talking about Misty. So what can we infer if this person said you're helpful and helps her out of a chair? We can infer that Misty is kind and comforting. If other people are saying that she's kind, then that's something that we can add to her characterization. There are two types of characterization. The first is direct characterization, where the author tells you directly what a character is like. Here's an example. Jenny was a shy girl of 17 years old. Well, what do we know about Jenny? We know she's shy, we know she's a girl, and we know she's 17. How did we know that? Because the author directly told us this is what this character's like. The second type of characterization is indirect characterization. The reader has to infer what the character is like using details that the author provides. The author lets the reader come to their own conclusions about the kind of person they're meeting. Let's look at an example. Jenny rarely made eye contact with anyone in the class. When it came time to choose groups for projects, Jenny stayed glued to her seat and sat in silence. So what do we know about Jenny? Well, we can say that she's probably shy because she's not making eye contact with anyone. She doesn't seem very social because she's staying in her seat and not talking to anybody. But we find these things out from the details in the text. Nowhere in the text does it say Jenny was shy and maybe antisocial, but we can make those inferences based on the clues that we have. This concludes the characterization video.